It's MTCS Cougar Corner, fueled by Donut Country and McDonald's Murfreesboro.
Presented by Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance. TOA, live your best life. Online at TOA.com.
On FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna, and streaming at WGNSSports.com.
Welcome back to Cougar Corner. Enjoyed our conversation with the head coach of the baseball team. John just got through talking to Jamie Carver, and he's one of those guys that's been there forever. And Jason Piercey, the athletic director, joins me now, and it seems like you've been there almost forever.
Oh, thanks. Great way to start out saying I'm old.
How long has it been for you?
I think this is year 17 or 18 here.
Wow. I remember those early days and seeing you on the basketball court, and actually got to follow one of your teams to the state tournament. So it was at the Murphy Center, I believe. That was before the move to D2, right?
That is correct. That was played Memphis Mitchell. It was we hung around for a while, but they were tough. Yeah. I think they won it, if I'm not mistaken. I
think you are right about that. So a lot of fond memories, and I'm sure now that in your athletic director role, it seems to be that athletics at schools is beginning to, I don't want to say encompass, but it's so big and so many kids participate. And I mean, you really have to have athletic directors at the schools to make this work. And you being, private independent, I'm sure it's a lot of work.
Yeah. Well, it is. It's every AD will tell you it's changed a ton. In the last, I don't know, even 5 years. At one point, I was telling a story this morning. At one point, I was teaching 5 classes, coaching the boys basketball team, doing AD work, and then dean of students as well. It was a lot going on, and that we used to always wear a lot of hats, and that's without any assistance, and that world has changed greatly. The amount of work that goes into preparing for each game, each season, we kind of joke that games are not really games anymore; they're events in our office. So, social media has gone wild, and COVID made us all turn into TV producers and learn how to do that and do live stream. All the stuff that's happened in the last 5 years. To think about that is really kind of crazy. But we've been blessed here. Our administration has really supported us and worked with us to create staff positions that, we now have 2 assistant ADs. I have a compliance coordinator, and we have a director of spiritual formation just with our athletics. And then I have a director of athletic operations. There's a lot of people to keep the trains on the track and on time, and it's a lot of work, but it's a lot of fun. Just like everything, just like coaching, really. You have good days, bad days, and you just roll with it and go on to the next one and keep fighting. So athletics has changed a great deal for everybody nowadays.
Well, you mentioned 2020, and this is a memory that I'll never forget till the day that I die, I think. I was in Mr. Tiller's office, and we were preparing to do, like today, the last interview of the season. And, he got a phone call and said, just give me a second. And then it was about scheduling games and what was going to happen. And then by the end of that, we learned about, state tournament games being nixed and, spring sports. And then that just was, I'm sure, just a snowball of things that happened, because it did in my life and probably everybody's life. But running a school, it'd be tough.
Yeah, it's you don't dwell on this mess much, too long. But it's I remember we had a meeting about it, and then it was like, just everybody stay on their toes, and we'll communicate more. And we didn't even make it down the hallway, and he got called back and said, "Here we go," And I went down to baseball and told Jamie Carr. I went out on the field, and he's like, "Well, this isn't good." I said, "Yeah." I said, "I don't know how many." We were playing a single game, if I remember right. I said, "Play 2 tonight." I said, play 2 and play all your seniors and get everybody in, and just, and he's like, that's not good news. I said, no, it's not. So just get it in, play as much as you can right now while we can. So, but yeah, I hope we don't ever go back to that. That was not fun at all.
No, I think I remember you telling that story, and Jamie has too. So, I'm glad though that we've seen a resurgence. It's taken a little bit, but the gyms are fuller this year. The stands at football fuller. People excited about spring sports this year, maybe more so than we have been. I mean, it was kind of a deep hole we had to climb out of, but I mean, that's good for revenues and to support athletics too.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that was tough times. I mean, all the things you had to do, I still got some of those documents saved, and I'll come across them and just laugh. I mean, all the things we had to prepare and all the communication you had to do and online ticketing, all the businesses that boomed because of that. Like I said, the live streaming. But the truth of it is, in some ways, if you want, the silver lining of that is we learned a lot of stuff. I mean, I don't know that live streaming, NFHS network, all that kind of stuff, I don't know that would be where it's at today if it wasn't for that, because we had to do it. I don't know if things like GoFan, which is a big, online ticketing thing, I don't know that would have taken off if it wasn't because of that. And it's a little more work on our part, but I mean, really the whole fan experience, all that kind of stuff, social media, all that stuff really blossomed under that because you didn't have another choice. I mean, you had to figure it out and make it possible, available for everybody and all that kind of stuff. And all it's done is just make things better. And you're right. I mean, it's a whole lot better than to, having to tape off seats and all that stuff we had to do. It's a whole lot better to see the stands full and, kids get to go out and do what they do and enjoy the game they love and enjoy the game that all of us like to go out and watch, win or lose. I mean, that's a part of it. It's a huge part of all of our lives. So it's great to be back to that.
Yeah, most certainly. Jason Piercey with us, athletic director at MTCS here on Cougar Corner this morning. We'll just kind of hop around. Fall is always a busy time of the year. And I think Christian found out that, you win a state title, you go from the hunter to the hunted.
Oh yeah. I mean, we knew that. It didn't help graduating 13 as well and playing a bunch of young kids. But, I thought they battled all year long. They had some big shoes to fill. And, it took us a little bit to kind of get in our groove and figure out where everybody fit. And once we did, we kind of got going near the end. But, yeah, I mean, in the end, we had some holes because we were young, and we know that. And those kids are – the best part about them is they grow up a year, and we had some good seniors, and we got to fill those holes, but it wasn't not as many as the year before. So hopefully they just keep growing, and we bring some of the young freshmen. Our middle school's been strong. We get some of those kids in there and get them integrated in there. They'll be we'll be right back up there.
Yeah, he was very optimistic on the last show that we talked to him about the years to come. And I think it was, this might have been the year to get us if you were going to get us. So, something like that. So, and that's good. That's a strong program. And I know it's one of the newer sports at MTCS, but gosh, I mean, football fanatics. I mean, that is like if there was a sport, and I know you were a basketball coach, but as an AD, football is kind of what sets the tone a lot of times at the school.
It does. A lot of people say it. I mean, it's a very it's something that's strange. It's kind of affects your hallways. It just affects the mood of how things go. It's really weird how that works, but it does. When you get a strong group of Dr. Sain, our principal, will tell you this too. And you got a strong group of football seniors that are good leaders. Your school problems can go down because they're leading not only on the field, they're leading in the hallways. And, we've been blessed with that the last few years for sure. But yeah, it can quickly set the tone. Volleyball's kind of the same way. You get off to you jump right in and you're rolling and all of a sudden, it's kind of like you start school and before you know it, before you blink, you're already playing you're in district tournaments and things like that, and it's funny how fast it goes. And but yeah, they are all that can really set the tone for your school year. You're correct about that.
Speaking of volleyball, it's one of those sports that if you had to look at one that maybe has seen the most growth in the last number of years, volleyball would have to be up there.
Oh, volleyball is exploding. I mean, the travel world of volleyball is huge. It's you got a lot of girls playing. Just the sheer numbers. I've been around long enough to see our volleyball program, which has always been pretty competitive. I mean, right now we're kind of in that upper tier of in the history of our school of stringing together several years of very, very high competitive teams competing at the highest state level. And yeah, I've seen it grow. Just the number of kids, the athleticism that's involved in it is crazy. But it's a sport. Now our middle school has grown from just starting a team to just the numbers are crazy. They'll have a 8th grade game, a 7th grade game, a 6th grade game. It's like we're playing all day, but it's just just goes to show you how many kids are just involved and love the sport. So it's grown a ton last decade for sure.
And had a lot of success this last season as well. You've got cross country and golf and girls soccer in the fall as well. And there were some highlights there too for MTCS. So didn't want to leave those sports out.
No, we did well. Our cross country team's growing, which we've had some low numbers in that in the past few years. But and they had a ton of kids come out. We got good numbers there. We got good young kids coming out. So we expect good things out of them going forward. Our girls soccer team was improved this year. So they're continuing to progress. So you're right. We have a lot of good things happening in the fall for sure.
Let's kind of transition to winter sports. And we, of course, every other week have a chance to talk either girls basketball or boys basketball. And you definitely have seen a lot of movement in the coaching staff and situation there with those particular sports. And, I've seen some of these young teams, especially on the boys side, that have won state tournaments and things like that. So there's a lot of promise there. And, the girls just had such an injury bug this last season. So maybe your thoughts on any of that you want to speak to.
Well, our league, by the way, is incredibly tough.
Uh-huh.
It's if you look up and down, I mean, the state championship game in boys was two teams from our district. Night in, night out, it is an absolute fight in our league. And yes, we'll start there. The boys team extremely young. We're extremely young, and we didn't have a lot of size, to be real honest. So we struggled against teams that had size for sure. But good part is that some of our young guards had a chance to get a lot of experience, and they're just going to grow up and get bigger, faster, stronger. And we had two that were 8th graders that got to play and a lot of minutes and did well, and that's only going to benefit them. They just get their freshman year out early, kind of thing, and so we'll be better. Our future is going to be better than it has been the last couple of years, for sure. We had some good kids, we have some good seniors in Briggs Boyd and Mac Harvey that have been pouring into the program, and it's just been a tough go in boys basketball for a couple of years, and so we're in the process of looking for somebody right now, searching for somebody that's going to lead that program, and we know that God's going to bring us a good person that'll lead our program, both boys and girls. Our girls team, we were low on numbers a little bit, and brought up some 8th graders, which is good. They did exceptional this year. I was very impressed with them coming up in that whole scenario situation being thrown in there, and we ended the year with a 3rd one coming up. at the end of the district tournament, and their future's looking good as well. We've got two. Ashley Rucker played extremely well this year, having to carry a lot of the load, honestly, and she battled every night and did a fantastic job. And I think she's just going to be better. I know it was tough on her times, but she's going to be a better player because of it. And you're right, and she had to carry that load a lot because, we started the year out with we had transfer. We had to wait to get eligible. We had another one of our starting point guard blew her knee out in the summer, and had to wait for her. She didn't come back until I want to say first couple weeks of January maybe. And we played a game here. I think it was USN, and Anna Clay Shirley, who's been our leading scorer and all-state player, blows her ACL out, which is just a gut punch for the team. Because we felt going into it, we had a pretty good at least 1-2, and we were looking for that third punt, that third player to step up. If we get a fourth, then you really you got something going. And when she went down, and we were still had one out, and we go to Nashville Christian the next night, and we lost Ambria Haynes on a who'd been doing well, and we lost her on a just a freak play, really. Just she was hustling through a play and stepped on somebody was on the floor, stepped on an ankle and rolled that thing sideways, and it took her a while to get back, and she was able to come back by the end of the year. And that's why some of those eighth graders had to come up, because we hit a bad stretch there, and our numbers were low, and so we added them, and again they got some valuable experience and did well. That's only going to benefit them going forward. So we like I said earlier, we trust that God's going to take care of us, and He's going to find us, help us find the right person to lead our girls program forward, and we're very positive, and we know things are going to be on the uptick soon.
Well, that's good. You mentioned in boys all the finals, the final two teams were from the same district. That's happened in girls as well in recent years, and MTCS has been part of that. And we had two teams from the same district in the Final Four. So I guess all of that to say, you better be ready to lace them up if you're going to play in this district.
Oh, 100%. I mean, people who watch will tell you. I mean, and that's not even, you're not even talking about 3, 4, and 5 who are really good too. I mean those teams are. It is really it's fun to watch. I mean, you're going against good coaches. You're going against good players, good programs, good fan bases. It really makes it exciting for the fan to go watch. It has been for us for the last few years. We got to, we have one of those years. We're going to get back. We just got to rebound, and we're going to work. We're going to go to the work. We're going to get the right people in place, and you're right. You better be ready to go in this league.
Yeah, for sure. Jason Piercey is our guest here on Cougar Corner this morning. You've got wrestling, bowling. Those are pretty popular winter sports too. And I remember hearing a few names here or there from MTCS.
No, you didn't either. We don't have either one of them.
Yeah, I know.
You trying to trick me?
I was trying. That's what kind of leads me into this next question and talking about some fall, spring sports. I know the TSSAA has brought in several new spring sports. How do you handle that? What do and in that regard, how do you know what sports to add? And you've got lacrosse and you've got girls flag football, all of that. Kind of walk us through what a process would be.
Well, that's a good question, because we get asked that every now and then. When new sports are sanctioned by TSSAA, everybody gets all fired up and they want to, let's do this. And what we have to look at first, the phrase I use is when we add sports, we've got to make sure it doesn't cannibalize another one we already have in place.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's only so many kids in the high school, and when you start splitting genders and those numbers, it gets even smaller. And so you got to make sure that you've got enough able bodies in some way that are even potential lacrosse players or potential, flag football players. And like I said, when you have new sports, people get excited, they want to try it, and then a lot of times what happens is it'll level out. It'll go back to where people are like, oh, okay, this, I've tried it, I'm going back to whatever I was doing. So what you don't want to do is kill one of your other sports in numbers because you're starting something new that may level out, and then you got two that are you just hurt one, hurt it too much, it's hard to recover. So that's the things you really have to look at. Now, sometimes if the numbers work and it looks like it can go, you looked at it. I mean, we're trying. I say trying. We've added elementary lacrosse. We had some people who were excited about it. We looked into it and kind of did some research on it and see what it looks like. And we started that kind of as a pilot program last year. And honestly, we didn't know if we'd have 2 kids, 3 kids. And I think they had enough to compete in games, and we used it as kind of a training, kind of learn sport, we had some kids that played, but we had a lot more that didn't. And so we had some guys that did a great job with that. Andrew Slimp is our coach, and he's one of the parents of one of the kids, and so he's real passionate about it and growing it. And so we started that in the elementary, and we were growing that through there, and this year they've started playing games in the league, so we're pretty excited about that. I've got our own uniforms. The kids are really excited about that, and so it's a growing thing in this area. If you remember long ago, used to soccer was that sport, right?
Right. Oh yeah.
You had the big three. You had the baseball, basketball, football, and softball in there, but you didn't have soccer in this area for years, and maybe in the metropolitan areas, but you didn't have it around. Now it's just such a huge thing. So you got to look at cheers. One of those that's taken off as well and grown into a massive thing. And so but that's really what you kind of got to look at is you don't want to jump too fast. Girls flag football, and I think it's great and all, and we voted for it and support it. I don't know that it's just like you see in a lot of smaller schools, they're not jumping into it too fast,
right? Because
you got to make sure, you got to make sure that you can handle it basically before you go too fast. Well, eventually, will it happen? Probably, but. That's something we'll look at as time goes on.
I think you have to take a little wait and see attitude with that kind of stuff. And it makes sense because, I mean, we're seeing that, honestly, volleyball and its explosion is kind of hurting girls basketball a little bit because those seasons overlap and, with travel volleyball and all. So you see that with softball in the spring. So I can definitely understand, and that makes sense. Why you do that, because you want to be competitive. But I mean, we've seen some girls basketball this year, Jason, where the team maybe had 6-7 players and they had 25 cheerleaders. So,
Yeah, it's a concern. It's a concern. It's a national thing too. If you read up on some of it nationally, it's not just here. It's not us. It's a thing that's happening. I know of programs that have won multiple states, and they're not sure they're going to have, softball programs. And they're a year or two away from having a state championship, three-peat. And,
wow.
I know of others that are shutting down other programs because they just don't have the numbers. But you're right, it's exploding in other areas. Our coaches here understand, there's only so many. We do a great job, and our coaches do a great job of sharing and making sure that we don't put kids in a position where they have to choose before they have to choose. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
We try to, at some point, it narrows down. We try not, especially younger ages, we're going to do everything we can to make sure that those kids have every opportunity because we don't want to be as the adults, we don't want to set our practice times at the same time in the summer, or whatever it may be, so that the kids got to make a choice between, sport A or sport B. We want it to be open to I'm all about kids playing everything they can. They only got the window for playing middle school, high school, elementary sports is so small. I want them to play everything they can. I think statistics will tell you, the studies will tell you that they're better athletes, they're better at college, they're better chance of going to colleges if they play more. But I'm also not naive to the fact that, the world we live in with and I don't mean this in a bad way, but the world we live in with trainers and travel ball and that kind of stuff. I got my daughter is in travel soccer. I understand how it will eat your schedule up, and there's that fear. I'm not saying this is a bad thing, but the fear of I'm going to get behind somebody else is very real, and it can hurt other sports for sure. Where, like we were talking about, just a second ago, when you had baseball, basketball, football, and softball as that was kind of around here. You didn't have lacrosse, you didn't have soccer, you didn't have all these choices. You played one of the three, and there was one in each season. And if you didn't, you maybe cheered, and then volleyball came around. So it just naturally, the more you add, it pulls away from other things, and so you try. That's why we as the coaches and adults and administrators have got to make sure we do everything possible to not force them to choose A or B until that time comes where sometimes it just doesn't work. If you're a cheerleader at our school and you're trying to play girls basketball, that's tough because they're ramping up for their national season at the same time the basketball season's going on. And that one's a challenge. And that's what I'm talking about, making them make choices. So we're going to try and do everything we can to work out. Brian, we wouldn't have, in our track and field had some success, we wouldn't have track and field if it weren't for our spring coaches early on working with baseball and boys soccer. It wouldn't have happened. But because we did, we've now got a track and field team of about 60-something, I think it is. And that's happened because we understood that we had to make it work and let these kids, it'll naturally work itself out one way or the other. And just let them be kids. As long as we remember that and try not to be the adults getting in the way of kids and what they're doing and being selfish. And it's actually fun and a beautiful thing. We just got to make sure that we as adults try to stay out of the way sometimes.
Amen to that. That may be the truest statement said in 31 years of the Coaches Show.
There we go.
Well, we've spent the last few weeks and even today talking baseball and softball and girls and boys tennis. And when you look at the overall seasons, spring is the busiest because you add all of that, and you mentioned track and field, and there's just a lot of things going on in the spring. You probably stop by the campus any day and see something happening.
Well, and I'll tell you, Brian, here's how it works for an AD. In the fall, you just hit the ground running, and everything's going. Everybody's excited. Friday nights are fun. Volleyball during the week. All that kind of stuff's going on. You got girls soccer, and it's exciting because you just came out of summer. You hit basketball, and everybody gets cooped up, and by the time you get to February, everybody's about ready to tear each other apart.
Yeah.
And the gyms get crazy and all that kind of stuff. But basketball was invented because it was cold and people needed something to do. So we go inside, we play basketball, we have fun. And then as we hit spring, you're right. It is nonstop every day. I told our people the other day, if you don't have to, as an AD, it's kind of nice because I get to stay at home every time. There's not much traveling like you do in some of those other seasons because you just walk outside. I was just, you could go to tennis, you could go to, baseball. We had those things this week, and if not, you got a boys soccer game. There's always something going on somewhere that you can find. And at our place, if it's not high school, it's middle school. So, my wife gets a little frustrated because I may not come home for a long time after school, but it's coming out of the gym of winter and the weather changing. It's always spring's crazy, but it's a lot of fun. And then you're kind of downhill to to graduation and back in the summer, and then we reset and we do it again.
Yeah,
so
rack and repeat.
That's exactly right.
Well, it's always good catching up with you. I know it's a crazy time of the year, and you've got a lot on your plate. I do appreciate you spending some time with us. I cannot remember, and I need to look this up at some point, but I know this is season 31 of doing the Coaches Show, and I know we're in the 20s with Cougar Corner, if not more. So.
Yeah.
Really enjoy getting to talk to your coaches, and you know, they all are from the same script, you know, and it's all about the kids first. And that's why we do this, is, you know, to promote the kids, and your coaches are a great representation of that and have been. So just really appreciate it.
Well, listen, we appreciate you guys and all you do. I've said this before, and I'm going to say it again. I've been in different counties and different schools. You guys are top notch in everything you do, and the amount of running around y'all do, and you're all kinds of games and supporting kids, and that's you guys are just like we are, and that we're doing it for the kids and for the families and for the experience, and as long as we keep that in front of us, everything's going to be just fine. And we just appreciate everything you do. We love doing this show. I tell our coaches all the time, go in there and have fun. Just talk about your kids. And you won't have to worry about having material, because you talk about the good things happening here and the good things of the kids and the coaches and what we're doing here. I just get excited. And you can tell I haven't been on here in a while, because I got a lot of things to say about it. I just love coming on here and talking with you guys and kind of spreading the good news about what's going on here. And I love this place, and we're thankful for you guys and all you do for athletes in this county and the kids. We appreciate you. Well,
very kind to say so. Yeah, if you're not in it for the kids, you shouldn't be doing it. So that's
no, go do something else, because then you'll just get in the way, like we was talking about earlier.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I do have people ask me all the time, "What's your favorite season?" And I always say summer, because by the time baseball and softball's over, I'm ready for a break.
Yeah. There is a summer comes. There's a reason why there's a summer in schools. The teachers, the kids, everybody, coaches, everybody needs to get away for a little bit. I think I told you this, I was against the dead period when it first, they first proposed it. I was like, it's crazy when you keep working. And then the first time it happened, I thought, this is fantastic. We all need a reset and a break. So. But we'll be there soon, won't we? It'll get here quick.
It will. So get out and enjoy some great spring sports at MTCS. And Jason, again, thanks. And we'll do it all over again next year.
Sounds good. Thank you, bro.
Jason Piercey here on MTCS Cougar Corner this morning. And I told you we were going to have an MTCS extravaganza last week, and we did. Appreciate Jason being with us this morning. And also John had the conversation with Jamie Carver. So good day here. A lot of spring sports talk, and this is actually the season finale, season 31 in the books here as soon as I stop talking. So some reasons you may want to have me go off quicker, but I do need to say some thanks. Each and every coach that comes in every week, I mean, Jason hit on it. We do this to promote the kids. It's called Coach's Corner, but it's really to promote the young people who play sports here in Rutherford County, and I hope that comes through. I think it comes through, and that is truly the reason that we do it. So thanks to all the coaches who sacrificed their time coming in. The later time helped a little bit, and we're going to continue that here into season 32, which is coming up sometime in mid-August. The week before football games start on Friday night, we'll be on to kind of do a preview. And always look forward to that. So thanks to the coaches, and thanks to Danny Brewer, who's been here almost every week except this week and another or two. It hadn't been many. And Bill Hockenberry filled in. And we enjoy having Bill on the team here. And, of course, John Dinkins. This is 26 years for us together and 31 of the Coaches Show. So we always enjoy that time together. And Dalton Barrett has been our producer here for the last number of years, and really helped us do some things, like video things and such that have been very important in our growth, and something that we might not have done had he not encouraged that. And we really appreciate it. Couldn't have done it without him here in season 31. Well, that's it. We appreciate you. Thanks for tuning in this morning, and we'll see you back here, of course, sometime, mid-August or so, and lots of baseball and softball ahead from Primetime Sports. For all the cast and crew, I'm Brian Barrett. Thanks for joining us, and have a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you right after summer.